Now we're going to look at scenarios in which we can write a rational equation to help us solve a problem. So to start us off, a ratio of two quantities is their quotient. The ratio of two different kinds of measures is called a rate. The equation A over B equals C over D is an example of a proportion, and two triangles are similar if their corresponding angles have the same measure. In the first problem, it takes Alexis 3 hours to clean her family's garage. Alyssa takes 4 hours to do the same job. How long would it take them working together to clean the garage? We're going to use the work principle to set this up. If it takes Alexis 3 hours, and that means in 1 hour she can do 1/3 of the job. X is representing the entire job. Alyssa takes 4 hours to do the same job, so we're going to add to Alexis 1/4 of the job in which Alyssa is able to finish, and those two added together equal the entire job, or 1 hour. So 1/3 of the hour would be Alexis, plus 1/4 of the hour would be Alyssa. So now we can use this equation to help us solve this problem. We have 1/3 x plus 1/4 x. Now that is, those are like terms because they both have x's, so we can add them. 1/3 plus 1/4 is 7/12. So 7/12 x equals 1. Now remember, when we have a multiplication equation and we have to solve, we actually have to divide. But since we're dealing with fractions, think to yourself, what cancels with 7/12? And that would be 12/7. And if we were to actually divide by a fraction, remember you end up multiplying by the reciprocal anyway. So what I do to one side, I must do to the other. That's going to leave me x equals 12/7. And since we're dealing with time, it seems kind of strange to leave it as 12/7. So I would probably say 1 5/7 hours, which is still a little bit strange to say, but it might be a little complicated to convert that into hours and minutes, but it's definitely more than 1.5 hours if you want to think of it that way. We would set up the next problem in a similar manner. Ethan can weed the flower beds by his office in 50 minutes. Anthony can do the same job in 45 minutes. How long would it take Ethan and Anthony to weed the beds if they work together? So you can think of it as 1/50x plus 1/45x is going to equal the total job. When I add my like terms of 1/50th x plus 1/45th x, I get 19/450 x equals 1. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal. And that's going to leave me with x equals 450 over 19, which would be the same thing as 23 13/19. And that's my final answer on that one. Now let's look at similar triangles. When you have similar triangles, meaning they have the same shape, just one's larger or smaller than the other, then their corresponding sides are proportional. And when we say proportional, that means we can set up a proportion. Remember, that's a fraction that equals a fraction. So we have to find p, which is right here. And I always like to start with p, or my unknown, and it corresponds to 18 in the other triangle. Now we just have to pick one other corresponding pair of sides to finish off our proportion. Since I started off with p, then I have to go back to that same triangle, and I'm just going to do 18 over 24. I could have done 15 over 20. It doesn't matter. You can do it any way that you want. Just be consistent and you'll come up with the same answer. So now that I have a proportion, I can do cross products. So 18 times 18 is 324. And p times 24 is 24p. Divide both sides by 24. 324 divided by 24 ends up being 13.5. So my missing side is 13.5.